Well, 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 what do we have here but an Argonaut 800 from Steel Will? Welcome everyone to another episode of Gideon's Tactical. I am your host Aaron, and I am excited to show you this field knife slash scout knife. We'll talk a little bit about that theory in this video of what is a field knife or a scout knife. That's kind of my term, is scout knife. But you know, something that you're going to take into the field that really isn't a bushcraft knife. You know, and maybe doesn't have quite the capabilities of a full-on survival knife like a Tops, Silent Hero or an SE6 that are full tanged and, have micarta handle scales and those type of things that make it a little bit more durable. But you're looking for something that's very comfortable in hand, very, very ergonomic, and you're looking for something that has some absolutely tactical applications, but also just being able to be just a good woods knife, and you're looking for something that's lightweight, compact, and ready to go. That's what we have here in this Steel Will Argonaut 800. Now, at the beginning of the year, Steel Will reached out to me, said, hey, we're launching our line. No one's ever heard of us before, but we've been watching your channel, Aaron, for quite a while. We like what you do. Could we send you some knives and have you do some reviews on them? I said, yep, I'm gonna be totally honest. They said, yeah, totally. That's what we want. That's what we like about the channel, is that you're always honest and fair. And they sent me several knives. So throughout this year, we've really reviewed several of them and overall been very impressed. There were a few designs that I did not like, and I said so. I didn't recommend them. There were some designs that I was like, guys, you gotta pick them up. They're amazing. And today, there's gonna be no exception to that rule. We're gonna go out here today. I'm gonna be totally honest and fair, showing you both the pros and cons of this Argonaut 800, what it has to offer. And we'll also be running up against the Cold Steel SRK design. You can probably see a lot of the same similar features and lines that the SRK from Cold Steel, that's been around for a long time. So we're gonna kind of run that up against this Argonaut 800 as well. Just kind of show you what the two knives have to offer. And hopefully by the end of this video, you guys are gonna know whether or not this Argonaut 800 is gonna be a good field slash scout knife for you, or if there are other items out there on the market. That's gonna be your choice, but I'm gonna show you both the pros and the cons, and you'll know and have a really good handle on whether or not this is gonna be the right knife by the end of this video. So with that being said, let's get to it. Let's go ahead and look at a few basic specs here on the Argonaut. Now, what we have is a total length from tip to the back of the handle of 12 inches. We have a blade length from the handle to the tip of 6.2 inches. And then we have a handle length itself from back to front of 5.75 inches long. We have AUS 8 steel with a 3/16 of an inch thickness. Tapers down to a nice swedge there. Saber grind with a really good relief edge, AUS 8 steel. Gotta love that AUS 8. Full tang all the way through, and you can see the tang coming out the back there. TPR handles, I believe, which are very similar to Kraton or TPE handles. They're all that kind of, they give a little bit, and really warm to the touch there. And the knife itself weighs in at 9.5 ounces, and then with the sheath, it's going to be 13.5 ounces. And so those are just a few of the basic specs. Satin finish, 90-degree spine on the Argonaut 800. All right, folks, let's go ahead and talk performance here on this blade. And I'm also going to talk to you just real briefly about the field knife concept or scout knife concept. Now, first off, performance, fantastic, guys. For what this knife is and how it's designed and how it's supposed to be used and applied, great. The AUS 8 steel is holding a phenomenal edge, and I would say that it has the same toughness and edge retention capabilities of anything out of Cold Steel or SOG. I mean, very good quality. Had a great grind-in edge. The edge out of the box was fantastic. I didn't have to do any type of reprofiling, and I usually reprofile most of my blades. Not the case with this one. So that was also a big plus. Great high edge. So it was just razor sharp. You have this nice swedge here, so it's going to get really good stabbing and penetrating, and it's very tough, durable. It's got that 90-degree spine, so it's going to be able to throw sparks with that 3/16 of an inch thick So not only launch sparks, but also do relatively good at batoning. Now, this is not a giant survival knife, and it's not really designed to be used that way, but if that's what you have to put the knife through, it'll absolutely do that with that high saber grind. So when it comes to all those types of, applications and tasks, as well as stabbing, a military tactical use, this is a great, well-designed knife and has fantastic performance. It's not going to be a big batoner, and it's not going to be a big chopper. It's not designed for that. It's really lightweight and compact, and it has that really nice thin, narrow blade, really ultimately for stabbing and penetrating and slicing. That's really where the blade shape comes into play. And strength with that saber grind with the swedge really strengthens out that tip, say, versus like a full flat grind blade would not have as strong a tip. And that's where I want to talk to you real briefly, kind of about the field knife design, or I like to coin the phrase scout knife, like what a scout would be carrying, not a Boy Scout, but like a military scout. Somebody in that kind of role and capacity, or you're looking for a field knife, you want a knife that's going to be tough, durable, but you want something that's going to be able to be used in tactical applications, hand-to-hand combat possibly. So you got to make sure that you're having a really good, not only comfortable, but very high traction, usually with guards, knife. So that's very important. You're wanting really good stabbing capability, and you're just wanting it to be really slim, compact, and lightweight. And that's what this knife offers, as well as other knives. And I'm going to do a whole video on this whole, field knife theory, or scout knife theory. But that's what this is designed for. So this is who would this knife be really good for? This is who this knife would really, excel for, is any sort of law enforcement or military personnel that you are looking for that knife. It's going to be fantastic. Or you are like a hiker or a backpacker, and you're looking for something that can do basic camp tasks and is lightweight. That's what you're looking for. You're not looking for some big old huge honking tank of like a BK2 or BK7, or something like that that's going to be this giant heavy duty blade with a full tang or exposed tang, and it's going to be really thick and really heavy. And you just want something that's really lightweight, open some packaging, cut some cordage, maybe cut some food if you have to, maybe make a few feather sticks for a fire. That's about it. You got your stove, you got your tent, or you've got, your military stuff with you, and you don't really want to build a fire because then that's going to give away your position, those type of things. That's what this knife is really designed for and going to be really good for, in my opinion. So as that kind of do everything, jack of all trades, master of none, this excels at being that jack of all trades when it comes to its performance. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the sheath here and give you the sheath rating on the Argonaut. Now, you may have noticed throughout the video there are a couple shots where there's only one button strap up here. That's because this is not the original sheath. When I first got this, and you got to remember now, I got this almost a year ago, the sheath was a little bit different. It was a different type of molded plastic, and there was only one button strap. And Steel Will just wasn't really happy with what the company that was producing those things for them was doing, so they decided to have them go back to the drawing board. So this is a different type of molded plastic, and they had them add an extra button strap just for extra security. So that's what we're looking at here. You may see a few shots throughout the video because I've had a year of footage with this knife, and you may see only one strap there. But as we go through this sheath, we've got a really good molded plastic here. It's held up well under sub-freezing temperatures. I haven't had any issues whatsoever. Tons of lashing points, both for blade tech locks and molly locks and paracord, and you name it, you can lash it. We got a nice drainage hole out the back. This is totally ambidextrous. You could take this nylon strap off, move it to the other side, and you have this nylon strap, very similar to what we'll see here in just a moment with cold steel, but Velcro and a snap with this little plastic tassel, so you could attach it to other webbing and PALS webbing if you wanted to. Gives you a really good drop. It's almost flush with the top of the handle, so the handle isn't rubbing into your hips or into your ribs. And then we have, again, this dual nylon strap, very nice buttons, and then you have the retention of the sheath itself, and it kind of sucks it in there, and it's very good. It's a very quiet sheath, so it's stealthy for attack, tactical sheath. There's almost no rattle at all, and that's just this little plastic guy kind of bumping around. The thing that I would note, and in comparison to the SRK, which as we can see here is very similar, the SRK has a very distinct snap, and it's very stiff in there. Now, it'll wear a little bit over time, but I don't know if you can hear that click. That's not the case, and it's almost exactly the same in every other way to the Argonaut sheath, except that it has the single strap. This strap is a lot flabbier and almost useless. This one does a lot more on the Argonaut, but the Argonaut just kind of sucks in and doesn't click in. I would have liked to have a good secure click. It's very secure in there, but I mean, I can easily, and you can't do this with the SRK, I can easily pull this blade out and it can do that if I pull on it. So if you're planning on running this upside down, the SRK is actually a little bit better in the sheath department, but other than that, it's a very, very good sheath and a lot better than most sheaths you're gonna get on the market. I am, in comparison to the SRK though, because it just has a snugger fit, I am gonna ding it 1 point at a 4 out of 5 for the sheath rating on this Argonaut. Ergo time. Let's go ahead and talk about the handles here on this blade. So what we're looking at is TPR, which is basically a molded thermoplastic, you know, very similar to Kraton. It's gonna feel like Kraton, has a little bit of a give in it, which is really nice. What they've done is given you a really nice ribbing all the way through here to give you some traction, so it's not gonna be pocked. It's gonna feel actually a little more natural in your hand when you are holding the knife. You can see they're very nice and large. You got a top guard and a bottom guard, so that's gonna keep you really locked into place for all of your stabbing tasks. This is definitely, you know, not only be able to do lots of wood rescue stuff and, you know, woods, you know, tasks, but also really lock you into place for those stabbing tasks for a tactical blade. Very good traction in that regard. Very good palm swell, very natural. I love that. Just natural handles is what I always gravitate to. The thing to note is that this, you know, little guard area right here doesn't give me enough to be able to choke up and use the blade. It's just too tight in there, and the guard on top doesn't really give me the option to put my thumb over, so you're gonna have to hold it in a hammer grip like this. Feels very natural and very controlled, and you can do a lot of, you know, finer work that way, but just something to note with the overall design of the handle. Then you got that full tang construction all the way through coming out the back there. I really like that a lot. That's very cool. Gives me a little bit more capability in pommeling. Lanyard hole, obviously, and then this little hook. I like that as well because it's going to keep me in my hand a little bit better than some other knives out there, say like an SRK from Cold Steel. If I am doing light chopping, now this is a very lightweight knife, so you're not going to be doing heavy duty chopping, but it's just nice to see that and it just keeps it in your hand a little bit more. So with all that being said, guys, I love this handle, and particularly for those of you, you know, looking for more of a tactical blade, say, than an SRK, this is going to give you a little bit better lockup and traction for stabbing tasks. So something to note there, it's a little less capable than the SRK in wilderness use, so a little bit more tactical than, say, the SRK that's out there, a little bit, but not by much. I mean, I can basically do all the same tasks I could do with an SRK with this knife. It's just a little bit, you just can't choke up quite as close on the guard, or on the blade. That's basically the only difference. So with all that being said, guys, I love this handle. Very tough, very durable. Just overall great design. So I'm giving this a 5 out of 5 on the ergonomic rating. You're not gonna regret holding this for an extended period of time, no hot spots, and it's really gonna keep you locked into place. All right, guys, I'm gonna hit quality real fast here on this knife, and I gotta tell you, this is not gonna take me very long at all. This is a phenomenally high quality knife for the price. I mean, wow. I'm giving this a 5 out of 5. I've had this now for a year. This is one of the most tested knives here at the Blade Boot Camp, has seen more abuse for a longer period of time through more conditions than almost any other knife that you'll have seen out there. And the reason for that is because I really wanted to put it up against, and we're about to discuss here in just a moment, against the SRK, because I've had lots of experience with multiple versions of the SRK, and I really wanted to see, hey, could I, you know, for a whole year, going out a lot of the time, and again, sealing more mileage than any of the other knives really that you see on a regular basis here. Very impressed with the quality, very, very strong. The handle has held up fantastically well, and the sheath, both the old one and this newer version, have held up great in both, you know, hot temperatures and also sub-freezing temperatures, guys. So great great quality knife, and you're really going to be pleased. And I believe this is going to last you a lifetime. You know, if you take care of it, it'll take care of you, I believe, for the rest of your life, this Argonaut 800. All right, how about value on this Argonaut? Now, when you look it up right now on all of the, you know, blade sites out there, this setup is looking at right around the $85 mark, which isn't unreasonable. You know, the AUS 8 version of the SRK, which again, and we're talking a lot about that, and we'll be comparing it throughout this video because I think a lot of you see very similar lines between this and the SRK, similar steels, all that stuff that Cold Steel produces. The SRK you can usually get for around $65 to $75 on Amazon, so it's not too unreasonable. The thing to note though is that the VG1 version of the SRK is right around the $90 mark, so only $5 more than this one, and the VG1 is definitely going to hold a longer edge than you would with this blade. So I'm kind of torn. This should be, if this was floating more around like the $70 mark, that would be a little bit better. Maybe in the future as it gets more available, it'll float down a little bit, but as it stands right now when I'm filming this video, I'm going to ding this one point and give it a 4 out of 5 on the value rating for the Argonaut. I think it's about $15 overpriced right now. Hopefully that price point will drop as time goes on, but as right now, you're looking at about $85 and a 4 out of 5 on the value rating for this blade. Real nice, no chipping, rolling, good heat treat on that AUS 8. Okay folks, now for the last piece of the puzzle before we get to likability is I want to run in the SRK and really talk just briefly about how the Argonaut 800 compares to the SRK. And the SRK has been around forever. I love the knife. It's a staple. Everyone should own an SRK. If you're into knives, they're just such a great knife. That doesn't mean that they're perfect. And really what I believe has happened here, regardless if they meant to or not, Steel Will has really kind of taken what the SRK has going for it and then improved on it when it comes to the Argonaut. As you can see here, first off, the Argonaut is just a bigger knife overall, so you are going to get some more things going for you in that sense. And really, they're so similar. Clip points, we got 3/16 of an inch thick. We've got similar handle materials. We got full tank constructions on both. We have almost carbon copies of each other when it comes to the sheaths, very similar sheaths. And when it comes to the older AUS 8 version of the SRK, now this is the VG1 version, so I'm not really going to be talking about VG1 in that sense. The VG1 models of the SRK will hold their edges longer and are a little bit tougher, but they're harder to resharpen out in the field. That's the one thing to note with the newer SRKs in VG1. But if we're talking about, you have an AUS 8 version of the SRK and you're looking at the AUS 8 version here of the Argonaut, I really think the Argonaut has a leg up, guys. I mean, it just does. It has a little bit more real estate on the blade. You have 5 inches of cutting edge. We have 6.2 inches of cutting edge here on the Argonaut. So it's got over an inch more of reach. The guard works better for tactical use, but still is very capable in a bush sense that I can easily crawl over it. I have a much longer handle. Some of you might be complaining about the SRK. When I line up the guards here, you can see that we got plenty of room back on the Argonaut, whereas the SRK, leaves something to be desired. You got that little flare out, so it kind of stays in your hand a little bit better, and just really has a lot of things going for it. So if Cold Steel hadn't upgraded the steel to VG1, I would say that the Argonaut is better than the SRK in every way, honestly, when you really get right down to it, if the SRK was still being made in an AUS 8 version. From everything that I'm seeing, I believe they have started to discontinue that version and they're only doing the VG1 and the VG1 Semi. So, if in the future possibly, the Argonaut was to come out with a different type of steel that could compete with VG1, I think it would probably be just an overall better design and be a more capable knife. As it stands right now, Again, no hate against the SRK, love that thing, but the steel will Argonaut just has improved on what the SRK can offer in just so many ways. And AUS-8 is a great steel. It's a great performer out in the field, been around for a long time, and is just an awesome, you know, good knife. And this Argonaut is just awesome. So just want to kind of walk you through some of those things and just kind of give you my opinion after a year of using the Argonaut 800 and having owned several SRKs, from the Carbon V version, now this VG1 version, and an AUS-8 version. When it compares to the AUS-8 version of the SRK and the AUS-8 version of the steel will, I'll take the Argonaut any day over the week over the SRK. All right, folks, time to end this review on the Argonaut 800, and that's a sad thing because I've loved reviewing it and showing it to you, introducing you to this Argonaut design. So overall, guys, my likability is 5 out of 5. Great field knife, great, you know, scout knife, if you will, as we've kind of talked about, you know, that theory of a field/scout knife. And I mean, I think this just has so many applications, from hikers and backpackers to tactical, military, you know, search and rescue, bug out bag. I mean, there's just a lot of things going for it, and just an overall great package in that field knife design, scout knife design. So if you've been thinking about the Argonaut 800 or the other Argonaut knives that will be coming out shortly, I think that they have a lot going for them, and I would highly recommend them, guys. So thank you, as always, for checking out the channel. Please subscribe, comment, like, share this video. And as always, remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. We'll see you out there.